What's going on, YouTube? Here we're back again with another video. We're going to talk about the last time we laughed if history can prove Jesus. And yes, history can prove Jesus. Excuse me. So I believe last time we was talking about Matthew and Luke. And, I'll be watching a lot of Christian channels and, stuff like that. I watch a lot of people. And Jay Smith and Sam Shimon and God Logic were one of my biggest that brought me back. So like I was trying to leave you with a little bit of myself back in 1993. I came here in 1990. My grandfather is Afro-Indigenous. He taught me a lot. I mean, he taught me, he's an, I apologize, he's an Afro-Garifuna black man. My father too. My mom is an indigenous woman. I apologize about my English just a little bit, but I'm gonna get better. I mean, I should be good since 1990, but hey, listen, I learned street English, all right? No disrespect, but it is what it is. But anyway, how do we prove that? For one, one of the biggest things that bother me is when people say, "Oh, Jesus allowed teens," or he. I mean, I'm not even going to give them the opportunity to give them the light when they say little things like that, where a 3-year-old and stop it. Now, one of the reasons on why back in those days, and it wasn't even like bunch of farmers, artists, working man were taking teens. No, that was an elite thing, okay? So history proves that. Okay, there was no such a thing as like, and Jesus hated that. Jesus said it. I mean, we could go back to, let's not move too fast to stay around Jesus. Then we move back to the indigenous tribes and European colonization. Because if you want to talk about corruption on the Bible, that can be debunked so quickly, okay? When Europe tried to corrupt the Bible, it says a small circle. Okay, this is not even in the Bible. This is not in the Bible. This is historic books. Tiny circle of billionaires, king, popes try. The problem was that it was too many receipts. Okay, it was too many trails. So they couldn't go around and start a war with all these people because what's going to happen? They're not going to win. It's like, I'm going to jump a little bit. It's like when Europeans came up here and they try to be like, Jesus is white. The Nishians and African people was like, wait, what? He was a dark brown man. So that's what they call it, the whitewashing. But the real paper's still there. That's how we know, okay? And also that it is European white people came here and this no, it was historical proven, okay? Poor Europeans came here and saw how we were colonized. We were doing very good. I mean, this is a historical fact. We were masters of mathematics. We were farmers. We were doing a lot of. We had tall pyramids. We had Mississippi, Illinois, New York, beautiful places. So these Europeans came And it's funny. Well, no, none of this is funny, and I apologize for to use the word. But I always look for what they say wetbacks. When people never to come here, we never had to use wetbacks. It was just they travel. My grandfather said the wetbacks was the Europeans that came here in boats. So that's what the because in every tribe you're gonna have those dummies that are gonna be racist, that are gonna be so they call them wetbacks. But it was these Europeans that were sending letters back to Europe, okay, and they were telling their families, "Man, we eating like kings here. We eat it just as good as king." And just like word by mouth and how history works, one person tells another one tells another one, another one tells another one. Kings hear about this, they're like, "Whoa, you come here." Division happened. So that's how that goes, and I will get into that. Actually, I would love one day. I'm coming for you, man. You know the guy that's like, what is it now? I love that dude. He has a lot of books. He says his grandfather left him over 1,000 Indonesian books. I got like 3 that I read, a few more, especially back in the day. Because when I was young, I'm 40 some years old now. You know, back when I was Logic's age, even a little bit younger, you know, we got the energy and stuff. That's why with Sam, listen, he's been doing this since probably 2000, probably before that. He's tired. He sees the lies. He sees the, stuff like that. And like I said, I'm not here to attack anybody. I'm not here to try to debunk anything. I'm here to talk about me being the radio for Jesus, on why I believe, why I believe Jesus is real, and why I know that there were certain things that happened to me in my life, from scary to good. Jesus is real. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to. It's like when people say, like not even people that don't believe in Jesus. They say that we just cloud and there's no such thing as good or right, or we humans know what's good from right, and situations like that. Um, that makes no sense whatsoever, because if we look at it that way, that Jesus did not create what's good from right, from what's good and what's right, good or bad, from what's good or bad, then he will be saying that what Hitler did was good, or how 15 million Europeans were killed. I mean, this is all history, right? It's like saying, "Oh, those kings, what they did was right, man. Hey, it's nothing wrong. Everything is this what it is, right? There's no higher power." The people that says that there's a higher power, but it's something else. Well, excuse me, if there is just another higher power, then it wouldn't be right and good. It'd be just, he wouldn't know anything. It would just be a higher power created a bunch of things without no purpose, right? But let's get back to the Jesus' time, when people like to claim that, in Jesus' time, Jesus allowed teen girls. Like, it was just disgusting. I mean, we know that Gomorrah was destroyed because of the situation that was going on there. How history more can prove it. When you talk about the Big Bang, people's like, oh, well, Jesus didn't say nothing about dinosaurs. He didn't claim dinosaurs. I do remember them talking about big beasts, tallest trees, eating trees. Some are the vegetables. Some will eat. That sounds like dinosaurs. The beast in the waters. The beast in, you know, like a shark and things, fish in the water, you know. And also, you need to understand this wasn't Jesus getting a revelation saying, hey, this is my revelation, write it down. No, for one, if you remember, Matthew was a taxer. He collected taxes. He was doing very good. Okay, that's what is hilarious to me when they say, um, you have this immigrants coming from, first of all, Honduras, Mexico, Canada. That is a European name. Okay, there was never we are tribes. Okay, we've been here before. We've been here since Jesus walked. Okay, so this that the white people are the devil. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, it was a circle of people, just like we have a circle of black people, just like we have a circle of indigenous people, just like we have a circle of Muslims, just like we have a circle of Chinese people that are bad, but most of them are good. Just like when God said, I will not destroy this world anymore because of what he's seen. Because for him it's easy. He could just, we're gone. We don't deserve his. We are so unworthy of his love that he was, obviously, he's the most powerful person, that he took. This is something that it kind of like confuses me so much when people try to like, so God took a part of himself and made himself into, no. He blew the spirit like he blew into Adam, created Adam, and then he took a rib, made a woman. He took a poor girl, a virgin poor girl that was married to a Joseph, a man. He didn't touch her. He didn't have sex with her. He wasn't for that. He was just a poor girl that was gonna die. And it wasn't even more of romance. It was more of, he was taking care of her. He was like a father figure. So, and I mean, that's what I read. I'm not trying to like, I don't understand, where do they get this sex party from? There's no sex party anywhere in the book, and the ones that they, and when the sex party do happen in the Bible, what happens? Yeah. So even then, God is all loving. He says, if what about for 50, 40, 30, 20? Come on. That's how bad people was doing. So this of habit. So when the spirit is blow, and he takes this form into, Gabriel blows into Mary. I don't know. I don't know why I keep saying blow. I think it's not even blow. He puts Jesus into Mary by divine powers. He makes sure he gets protected. Remember, this is the Roman Empire, one of the most powerful empire in the world at that time, at any time of that time. Couldn't catch this man. They didn't catch him. This story came out. A poor man. So remember, it wasn't like it was Jesus a powerful, strong empire that was had billions and had armies and had people with swords and weapons of destruction and situations like that. Obviously, back in the day, there was no powers of destruction. It was just a poor man doing divine things. Even today, you have people that don't believe in Jesus that will, rather than to say, this was Jesus, they'll go and say, nah, he has satanic powers. It's history, bro. This, you could look this up. And we are so blessed, and thank God that I was able to see Sam and God Logic and Jay Smith again and them guys again, because these were men that used to go, back in those days, we had to hit the library. We had to go to places. I'm from New Jersey, so I was able to jump into to New York, the bus to New York, 139, up to New York City, come see these places, and the history, but the receipts, the trails, I mean, they're all there, So Matthew 19:14 talks about it. It was poor teens. It was and that marriage, young people was within the elite. God hated that. So please stop using this that God was down with this, because God was not down with this. Okay? Even with Indonesia, now I'm going to move forward. Okay? Like when Europe brought the blue-eyed Jesus. That's what I'm going to call him, the blue-eyed Jesus. Okay? People was like, wait, what are you talking about, bro? Jesus was a dark brown man, Jewish man. So, what are you talking about, blue-white Jesus? Also, back in those days, what would happen to somebody that was touching a young kid? Actually, in that time, we looked as kids were sacred. Sacred woman, sacred. I mean, they able to give life. What other person can give life? I mean, we have scientists trying to create life. Now they create life, and this is where it come from. Do you know that back in those days, it's like science has always been since back in those days, but some people consider that black magic, that they were able to certain things, not everything, okay? Because God healed the sick, and I mean, remember, this was kids dying in those days because they were poor. Like, that's why I say, and don't get me wrong, okay? I would never disrespect Western country, Western culture, because some of it were ours. We already was colonized. So all this that is European brought laws, and yes, they created laws like immigration. Immigration wasn't because immigrants were coming here and taking jobs. No, they were coming here. It was because they were made because they took slaves, okay, and they didn't want them to become citizens. They didn't want them to become successful. History can prove it. Okay, so all these little things, slavery, God was against it, but the elite, and when I talk about elites, I'm not talking about, I'm talking You know who we're talking about. If you believe in Jesus, bro, you better believe in Satan. You better believe in he rose in the night. He rose in the dark. He roars at night. I'm sorry, I apologize. Sometimes my ghetto language talks for me. So, he comes at night, he roars. Biggest trick he had was to make people believe that he was real, right? The Bible says he will sprinkle little lies with the truth. I mean, how many predictions? Let's see. One of the predictions with Judas, right? Didn't he tell Judas, bro, you're gonna sell me for 30 coins? Another thing to me that, man, you can look this up. This is what is so beautiful How is it that a poor man cannot be caught in a time where people will sell you for 30 coins? I mean, I wouldn't understand why would you sell Jesus? Because that's, what he did for us. But he knows the better. But you have, they try to debunk this, that, there was no such a thing. Kids died at 20, 16, 17. And then they show, yes, it was true. But it was poor people, poor teens, poor kids. So when you had if a man had a I'm gonna use myself. If I have a beautiful daughter, and I know that, look, she's gonna die. She gets sick, she's gonna die. But here comes this young man that comes from a nice lineage, right? His parents are rich and stuff. I say, hey, maybe, you guys can get together. That's how things worked, It wasn't nothing to do with, creepy old man coming saying, hey, come here, little girl, stop it. But yeah, that was one, okay? Then we can talk about, that's what I was talking about to you about with the farmers, fishermen, and artists. They married between peers. It was women were women. Grown women. It wasn't like this man was taking teens to go and it was love. It was romance with grown women. It wasn't no kids. It wasn't no. There was no such a thing in those days where a fisherman because they looked at it like that was kids and women. Look, they were sacred. So if you was to do something like that, you will be not only would you be not put to death by other people, the family itself can go and, if I'm part of that era and I hear, hey, yo, John down the street, bro, he's taking a 13-year-old girl, he's abusing her, because he got money and we're gonna whoop his ass. But back then, either you get out of here, can go, you won't be able to take nothing. Maybe they will give you water and figure it out, but get out of here. Or and not just that, and you better hope that the family don't catch you before you leave. So that was one. So this practices of teens being married at a young age was to do with the elites, okay, like kings, people that have money. God did not like that. So that was one. It's always, It was always protect kids, protect women, protect the poor. You know, uh, biggest thing that Jesus has always hate was rich people abusing poor people. I mean, I remember reading one part that broke my heart. Excuse me for a second. When somebody was sick, right? Can you imagine in 2026? And I mean, we still see it every day. And it's sad. Yeah, New York City is very known to see people in buses with their legs ready to come out, especially when the fentanyl came out. I mean, right? But, back then, that person wasn't going to be able to get on that train. He had no choice but to scream, unclean, unclean. He has to move to the side. Now, I can turn around and run away from him, or he better move to the other side. And that's sad. And that's why God healed people, you know. So that God was this evil man that was about me and pop. Stop it. Please stop it. Okay? Stop it. Read it for yourself. You don't have, it breaks my heart when I will get his name. One day, you see him preaching in the college. They invited him to preach, because we got to get to these kids, because if we don't teach the kids the real truth, they will never know. And divided, we will fall. That's one. Divided, we will fall. Okay? So, but like my grandfather tell me, and this was something that stuck with me for a long time. Do not let them lie to you. I didn't understand it because I was a little kid, but the more I got older, I understood how whitewashing was. What whitewashing was. Okay, because when I was younger, I don't know if they still do it. I haven't seen it in a while. 42nd Street, they will have black Israelites. They will stand on the corner and they would talk about the Old Testament and they would show off the things of what the Ku Klux Klan did to people. I don't want to talk about what they did because it's horrific. But I remember one time being there and I started crying. It was like 15, 14, 93, 94, I think it was. I started crying because they had this young man and he kind of like, it's like, bro, I'd rather die than to be your slave. And this is what broke me about Kanye West. It's a choice. Dude, really? So what? They all should just say, you know what? Just erase all of us. Just kill us all. Like, come on, bro. It's not a choice. It's a whole different life. Do you think? Here's one, and just to show you. I call him the White Warrior. The White Warrior. The guy that he tried to put 21 man slaves, and it was 21 people. They tried to go and steal a bunch of guns so they can go to war. so they can fight against them. But he was caught, and they hanged this man. Broke my heart. Um, so it was like, dude, you know, like you sit here and you talk, and people, they just talk, and they don't even do a little research. Just a little research will change a lot of things. But yeah, there's this man. There's three of them actually that I wrote down about. You know that they fought against the Ku Klux Klan and against racism. Here was another one that the Chinese Zodiac, the fire horse. God predicted that. War and war rumors, 24/6. Luke 21:20. Matthew. I mean, so much mass deception, right? Um, uh, uh, Mark 11:17. Go ye therefore and teach all the nations. Now the nations was changed; it was tribes. And therefore and teach all the nations. Baptize in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. I mean, that's some strong thing to say. And here we are, years later, and all this bunch of tribes are here, and we got to teach them. And that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to make you become Christian. I'm just here throwing you little seeds. What you do with them, it's like, that's why God gave us free will. And as long as you don't disrespect the Holy Spirit, He even said, I don't care if you blaspheme against me, just don't disrespect the Holy Spirit. But and I apologize that I keep looking down, but I just want to find the names of these books, so you could understand. And also when they say like, oh, we don't have the originals, yes we do. We have the original copies. Like I said, when the Vatican Apostolic, the British Library, the Chester Beauty of Museum, the National Library of France, all of these places have historical proof from Jesus' time. So, and like I said, the good thing is now you can Google things, So that's beautiful, That's one of the most beautiful things that you can do, But yeah, like I was saying, 10 to 15 million Europeans were killed by their own people, and like that's one of the things that I was telling you. They were sending letters to the people. Hey, look, life is great here, the king. And what's crazy is that this place was never called USA. It was called the Turtle Island, by Abya Yala, right? Turtle Island, land of honor. It's awesome. It's just, but the things that you find out how they they were living, they treat each other, they were evolving, and like one time I saw this white kid, this racist white kid, talk about how Oh yeah, they were stupid. This was live. He was in one another man's channel talk about how the Africans and the people were so stupid and they didn't have anything and we didn't know anything and they came and made all this for us. No, dude, stop it. Learn your history. Um, the dude that goes, uh, amazing, amazing. This black gentleman. This dude has the nerve to say if black people were so smart and they created all these things and blah blah blah, how come? Really, dude? You didn't even know that there was towns burnt, but yet you quick to say that they wasn't. Do you know that West Africans were master at mathematics? The indigenous people, they were learning that from them. Math was, I mean, it's just these people talk without no filter. Like they don't, I don't know if they do any history or they just don't care. They just lie, you know. Like for me, I couldn't come on here and just give you all my opinion. This is how I look at life and everything. Like, yes, I get upset when I see a Mexican, a Honduras man, a Canadian, Canada, and United States. Like, dude, that's there was no such a thing as that. You are a you are an Indonesian person. This is your land, okay? Mexico was created by a European name, okay? My grandfather told me this. This is history. This is in history. This is white capping, what they called it, okay? But again, this is not an attack, and if you take this video as me attacking white people, you're not listening. You're not listening. Because divided we fall, united we evolve. So remember that. Yes, it hurts what happens in the past. Yes. But we as humans, we deserve to do better for them. Like for that young black man that rather to die for freedom than to be a slave. That's who we need to stand and unite for. Yeah, we don't have to go and be like damn and kill and do all that because that doesn't because he was that person has a son, has a mother. You know what I'm saying? And look how smart Europeans are. And this is one thing that I love about Western. They use laws to change laws. Okay? They don't go and, you know, and yes, you can say Iraq, you can say all these places, but again, you know, you can say propaganda. I did look, and if you historically, that's why I say historically. But let's get back to Jesus. Now let's get back to, let's not get off course here, because, you know. So I did give you a couple of historical facts of how Jesus can be proven historically. You know, him saying, like I said, him talking about saying to Judas, hey, you know, you're gonna sell me. How he said that his main message was gonna be the number one. He was kept number one. Christianity all over the world. all over for the tribes. Yes, now we use nations because it's um, actually the word. What was the word? What was the word? It was the word, and it was man, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. So yeah, there was a word for that for the tribes from Europe. Uh, um, it was from Europe, and that's how they called it. And I guess I'm not exactly sure if they didn't know what it meant, but they used it and they put it as nations, but it actually means tribes. I will look for it, but yeah, like I said, Jesus does definitely has a lot astrological war rumors. Like I said, um, remember, without Jewish people, there would be no history. Jesus is a Jewish man, and his main thing. Christians have been here for thousands and thousands of years. If you want to go back to the Old Testament and saying the Old Testament doesn't align with the New Testament, have you read it? Have you seen it? This is why they can't debunk it, and they have tried, because it has too much trail paper. And there's too many good people out there in the world that want just the truth, And like I said, and remember, God doesn't say hate your neighbor, judge your neighbor, put a seed. Whatever he does, just because God didn't say, hey, gay people or this people won't be judged a certain way, this means they won't be judged. But he also doesn't say you will go to hell. He doesn't say you're gonna go to hell. We know who hell is for, okay? I mean, you touch children. So he said he'd rather see you and go jump on the water, right? Because they're sacred. Women, sacred, giving life, okay? The snake was been in her ear, okay? This situation that, and I remember when I was younger, somebody saying, well, the world is over 4.6 billion years old, and Jesus says creation. Yeah, but where does in the Bible says that God wasn't here 4 billion years ago? Where does it says that humans wasn't here before that? My opinion, humans were already here. Adam and Eve were supposed to be what Jesus, but because he saw that even Adam and Eve, well, not so much, yes, Adam and Eve, let's not just put the blame on the woman, because that's just dumb. Because he could have easily said, hey, nah, Jesus says don't eat from that tree. No, he ate from the tree. He was followed. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it say. That's why it says a strong woman, strong man, they lead good kids. So, when it comes to that, I believe that, my opinion, not that, when I read it and I believed in it, and, I was like, and then you listen to Jesus taking form of a flesh, and I'm like, I wonder if Adam and Eve were supposed to come down here and be what Jesus was supposed to be. Don't let Satan tempt you. don't be tempted. Well, they felt that right away. Um, when they came down here and all these things started happening and the big, you know, happened. Um, then he came on down after that, you know, Satan rebelling, you know. People forget why he rebelled. You know, they think, oh, he just decided one day to, yes, he was prideful, yes, he was this, but you also got to remember that God says, you know, he says, how can you, um, love these weaklings that don't even listen to you or something like that. You know, don't quote me like exactly what it says there, but that's why I said, well, for how I read it, my opinion. And he says, how can you, excuse me, love these weaklings that die, that don't even believe in you, don't respect you? Free will, free love, his creation. So yes, I do believe that Adam and Eve was supposed to be the perfect example for humankind, but they fell right away. Temptation, and then the war happened. World, you had the giants. They came down here. They took women, and look how crazy. Uh, Excuse my words, like I said, and look how it looks that this betting this angels come down, they rebel against God, they come down, they get sent down, they start taking women for themselves and start doing what? Having sex. And all of a sudden, giants, corruption, eating things, bad things start happening. This angel of war, this one for this, you know. Then we get more advanced, more teachings, more things that we see in the Bible that are happening to today. That end from, I believe was 1926 was one of the big predictions that they saw in the Bible. Um, you know, a lot of things like that. So, you know, he's arguing and he's talking about how, you know, Satan's talking about how he's coming, he was sent down here and he's corrupting people, putting whisper in their ears and doing little things, you know. Um, and situations like that. I won't even go there to that situation, but if I do get attacked by certain people, I will break this up. But you know this, right? Eve whispered to his man, you know, just eat that apple. Don't worry about it. You know, you'll be like a god. So woman, but that's not me saying that a woman's fault or anything like that. What I'm saying was that it's a little thing that I'm gonna keep maybe for down the line that kind of falls into some religion that you hear that was like, hey, look. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna leave that for the if they want to attack and they want to really attack my Lord Jesus Christ. Because, man, we are not worthy, bro. I mean, this man literally, and I call him a man and I apologize, my Lord Jesus, because you're not a man. But you did take a form of a man. But it wasn't like you said, oh, you know, it's easy to understand, you know. No man can be pure. No man can do what he did. So what did he do? you become the teacher, right? Like, you don't go to the student to be the teacher. You become the teacher to teach, so students can learn from the teacher and they can pass it on. Like with Jesus, God, I'm gonna make myself the perfect example for men to follow. Even though I know that not all of them will believe, but some will believe. I will get killed, I will get traded, I will be betrayed, I will be all this, people will fight over my clothes and everything like that. I mean, there were things that they said. They said that they saw this man turn his shoes into gold. And to me, and one of the most things to me that I'm just so stuck on, and that people can't get, how a poor man can escape. I mean, there's I can't remember. I'm not very good. I remember the chapter verses. That's why I'm still studying it, and I want to learn about what they talk about. He's in the group, and then he vanished. Jesus vanished. They're like, oh, he's there. The military's like, he vanished. Right? This is not just one person. Again, how things get around. One person tells another one person tells another one. History. And that's how it goes. So, these powerful armies can catch this man. But yet, this man says, yeah, it's time for them to catch me. And for me to say what they're gonna do. They do it. I mean, if that's not divine powers, bro, and how does, let me ask you a question, and this is for everybody. How does that message get kept around if you have all this corruption? Because you got to remember, if corruption is winning, or corruption will take over, like, will be women, like, women aren't worth anything. Women are just supposed to be in the kitchen. All these corrupt things, right? All these evil things that we would think. If there was no God and God message wasn't kept, then obviously the corruption will win. Again, we lose it now because we divided. We lose it now because we didn't learn our real history. We don't take back our knees. We don't fight like we're supposed to fight with knowledge. We don't go and unite and bring laws to them. Hey, you know what? Stop calling us Mexican. Stop calling us Honduras. Stop calling us Canadian. Stop calling us Nicaraguans. Stop calling us all this thing. We are indigenous people. We are from this land. This is our land. Stop telling white people, stop telling white people to go back, because that's not who we are. We wasn't like that. We were the land of the free. We wanted people. Yes, you do need to. I do believe that you do need to respect and learn the language, learn our culture. A lot of people seem to say, "Oh, my religion is beautiful." This is religion is beautiful. Why those religions are beautiful in this country? Because you can talk about them. Because you have the freedom. You have the freedom of speech. You have this. You can't go. You're not gonna go. This is, and look, again. This is my opinion. So remember, my opinion. China, bro. You don't play with them. Look at that last kid that went over there and was just suspecting people, didn't even know what they did. They were ready to beat him up, bro. You know what I mean? You're not gonna go to their country and take over. And that's why I I don't understand why you would steal land and then allow people to disrespect it, to treat it as like, you know, like the freedom of speech, like all these things. Like, you come to this country, learn the culture. Don't get me wrong. To me, I always believed you should learn every language. Why? Because it's beautiful. You want to learn. What was the biggest problems we all had? We couldn't communicate with each other. That's why we fell apart. That's why a lot of lives was able to continue, because we couldn't understand each other. We wasn't able to say, oh, no, this is what we meant, right? We didn't know. So I could be like, I speak Spanish. You could be telling me, hey, tell that person over there he looks good. I go tell him, that dude over there, he say you ugly as hell. Comes back, there's the division. Come on, man, stay with me. Come on, let's go have a couple beers, man. Don't worry, let's stick together. That's why I got one. Could do it with another one. Now I got two. Get the point, right? So it's not that it's impossible of how corruption took place, but the real corruption that they wanted never took place, because Jesus is the most powerful one. He can't be beaten. To this day, he can't be beaten. To this day, they can debunk him. To this day, you could talk about it, and you can't. You can only deny him. It's the only thing you can do. And again, we're not here to make you, to force you, because if God didn't force you to love him, how can we be hypocrite and make you want to love him, right? We spread seeds. Yes, I did take something from him. Love your neighbor. Would I be doing my job if I wasn't telling you the truth about him? No. So remember, be glad that you live in 2026, and that you can Google things, and that you can historical look at a book, and not even so much Google things. What I mean, like, oh, ask Google for this and see what they say. Because even with Google first. You know how many times, and this is for real, do it. And leave a comment. Please subscribe, leave a comment. Let's become big. Let's bring the word of Jesus. Let's be the warriors. But I'll give you this task. Argue with Google. And I promise you, that Google itself will tell you that you are correct. Because there's just times where they'll give you what they want you to hear, but then you say, wait a minute, that's not what history, and that's not what this book is, and historical does. And then, I understand why you're upset with it. Do it, and you will see that even AI itself is not even 100% correct. So you need to do more than one. You gotta go to the sources. You gotta find out. I watched Sam do it, and this gentleman goes, there's an avalanche of this you take, and and then you take this other avalanche, and then you take the most productive one, and then that's what you go by. Right. That's what we're doing, and that's what we're proving. And then 2 minutes later, no, that's not what I mean. That's not what exactly what. But he didn't even know that that's his arguments that he was using was backfiring on him. That's why I love Sam, bro, because Sam is a big dog. David, the dude David, another big dog. They don't play, bro. I hate that they have. I hate that they having a problem with each other. I don't know what it is. I don't care. I wish. No, I don't wish. I pray that they can become that whatever it is, can that is something stupid that can be forgiven. That they can get over it, because those two together, that's a powerful. And Jay Smith. Yo, you don't want to mess with Jay Smith. And what made me really historical want to find out about Jesus was how he told me a story. He didn't tell me a story. He was talking about it on his channel. And he talks about how he went to Speaker's Corner. And he's just there to, talk about trying to understand people and have debates and, not to fight. He got jumped. They were beating him up. And out of nowhere. He called him his black angel. This black man jumps on top of him and takes all his hits. And when I was younger, well, not too much younger, when I heard that story, it made me mad. I was like, what? Really? So you can't even talk now. Freedom of speech is not freedom of speech anymore. And that's why when I hear people tell people, well, go back to where you came from. To me, that is the most... You don't even know where you come from. You lineage don't even know where you come from. You're probably from Israel. You're probably from the Middle East. You're probably from Europe. We tribes, bro. When I did my DNA test, I knew that I'm Indonesian and African American and West African. My grandfather, I'm gonna tell you a story, and this was just, I compared it. It's not that I didn't believe my grandfather, and it wasn't too long that I did this. But I was Google. I used a lot of Google, but I don't. One thing about me with Google, and you should, and I recommend this for everybody, don't always take the first answer. Always because sometimes also too is the way you ask the question. That's how I will answer it. So if you ask the question a certain way, it will give. But if you ask it the same question a different way, you will see how it will give you the same answer, but with more contact. You know what I mean? So right there itself, and then you flip the same question to another, and you will get more. And then, give me 3-4 best books of this context, and they will give it to you. And then you will start reading them, or that's the best part about it, that we have so many apps now that we can just Google them. Some are free, some are not, and you can read them, and you can go right to the places and see, okay. And in Spanish, La Reina, the Bible, right? And you will read these patches and you will see. And then you will go to the French Bible. You will read. And then you go to the Greek Hebrew Bible. And then you will go to the Chinese Bible. And then you put all them together, and then you will look at them, you read them, and then you will take that verse and, oh wow. They are just a translation that are different. The message is the same. And then that's when you start saying, well, how was it that at this time this group was able to have that book over there, over here, over here, over here, with the same meaning, different language, but the same meaning? You see what I mean? That's why I was like, wow, Jesus is real, bro. God is real. So, because I don't want to forget the names of I call them the White Warriors. You know what I'm saying? I do. We have our White Warriors, and Indonesian Warriors, or African Warriors. Another one. Jesus predicted he would outlast every empire. I mean, he sure did. And he's still outlasting them, right? He's still outlasting them. It's not that far. It's right here. Apologize, but I really want to find this. But this was before the European came here, right? The African Indonesia's king, Bali, and his empire. Kings Musa. Also, those names, they sound, those African names sound familiar, man. Like somebody trying to cop them. Like somebody trying to steal those names, huh? This was one that they called it the white labor monopoly. Biggest weapon. Divide and conquer. Right. I was like, wow. The broke me. How they talk about, and you hear all the time, divided you fall, together you rise, and they did a very, hey, listen, those kings, that circle, because that's what they talk about, historical. That's why when they talk about white devil, stop it, okay? It was a circle. It was billionaires. It was elite kings, and they were different races. It was, some of them believed that they were the one, but they had to also keep some of us, our colors, to be able to say, hey, listen, look, believe them, they're good people. So they wasn't this dumb, they divide and conquer, white labor monopoly, that's what they called it. And this is, this is if you don't like if you don't believe me, right? With the Google thing, um, they called freedom fighters. They called them rebels and fugitives. And I said, I typed, how come you use this kind of words for people that they just didn't want to die? They wanted to live free. But for kings that stole lands and killed people, you don't use words like that. And then you do it and you tell me, comment below and tell me what Google said. And I bet you that they was said, hypocrisy. Isn't it funny how hypocrisy is? How they call these people kings and empires and good people, but the people that just want to live and work hard and have a wife, kids, life, they're called fugitive. They call wetbacks. They called destroying the economy. No, and I'm not doing a lot of jumping, but historically, because I'm in the niches, man, and what I see every day, it breaks my heart. But I don't want to get political because I'm not into politics. I do think Western for not allowing people to come here, take over, and turn us into slaves and rape our women, kill our kids, like they were back in the day, So that was all. And immigration wasn't even made for borders. Like it wasn't even for that. It was for the slaves. That's how messed up it is. That immigration was made to protect labor market. To keep slave Indonesian people without getting their citizenship, without being looked at as like an American. That's heartbreaking, bro. And now they walking around here, and you have people here telling you, go back to your country, go back to your country. Like, that's what they used to. That it wasn't even used for that. It was used for black people, wealthy black people, and stuff wouldn't be able to use that name. Give me a second, I'll come back.